All right, so important win for Washington. They get to 9-5. It was kind of ugly down the stretch, but I don't think we should lose sight of the fact that fairly dominating for a lot of it. I wish we would have been able to put more points on the board and make this a little easier. But they had the ball for over 40 minutes. They had a 17-0 lead at one point. 23 first downs to their 17. We were 9 of 17 in third down efficiency. 74 plays to their 51. 326 total yards. 189 yards passing when you take into account the 8 sacks and everything. So that was the downside.
Moreau catches that ball. Is that a touchdown or is that a 2-point conversion?
Which one?
On the 2-point conversion, he rolls out, he throws it to Moreau, and it goes off his hands. But if he catches that, was he inbounds? I think he probably would have been.
Know. Yeah, I assume. Yeah. I just figured that I just couldn't believe that we got lucky.
You know what I didn't understand? It was Johnson. I don't think it was Johnson, not Moreau.
Oh, it was Johnson. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It was Johnson.
So they ruled it an incomplete pass, and then they buzz upstairs and say, "Hey, let's take a look at it." They take a look at it. And they said, "Oh, it's our bad. We reversed the call." Then there's a 10-second runoff. I don't understand the 10-second runoff. Is it because he would have been tackled in bounds? You can't really say definitively if it's going to be 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 5 seconds.
I don't know. It's just a rule.
Is it just a rule that's? Is this just a weird rule that they have? I didn't understand the runoff.
No, that's a great question. I don't know. Some of these rules I just can't comprehend. But they were very fortunate to come out of that with a win.
They were, but there were still some good things.
Sure.
I thought, obviously, they're getting Terry involved. Terry's having a hell of a season, by far his best season.
Oh, yeah.
How many touchdowns does he have now?
He's got 11
on the year. He's got 68 catches for 11 touchdowns. He's just 31 yards shy of another 1,000-yard season. And you notice in the postgame he was wearing that Gavinci Scully. I wanted to look that up. About a $400 skull cap. Usually I get one at Marshall's for about $6. He's wearing. I don't even know.
He's wearing one that's $400.
Yeah, I don't even know Gavinci. That's like not even a brand I'm even familiar with. But
yeah, he's got.
Terry had a great game. I mean, there was those couple plays down the sideline that were just inches away from connecting on. I did think he was interfered on one of them. I said to John Keimer earlier, I thought that Jaden made some really tough, tight window throws over the middle. They weren't long, deep throws or anything, but they were like 10, 12-yard passes that had very small window, and he just ripped them in there.
I thought he would have caught that ball down the right sideline.
When he was like on a sprint.
Yeah.
There was one.
He was wide open.
There was one where Terry, frankly, he hesitated a little bit at the beginning of the route when you watch the replay, and then it just kind of affected the timing of everything. I don't know why. But they'll connect on that, I think, more often than not.
But Terry is second in the league, just behind Jamar Chase in receiving touchdowns with his 11. So he's having an unbelievable year.
Unbelievable season, and there's no doubt they're making an effort to get him. Didn't even notice him.
I assume he'll be active for the Eagle game.
Of course, Marshawn Lattimore got a lot of attention for being out there, and they didn't even look to his side. So that was great. If he can just kind of be that shutdown corner, that's going to really help them down the stretch. Especially, look, I don't expect him to not look A.J. Brown's way next week, but he could certainly limit their opportunities. And I think Benjamin St-Juste, I haven't seen the snap count on that, but I got a sense that St-Juste wasn't maybe out there as much. Because of the addition of Lattimore.
I know he was out there and he had a penalty. I don't know if that was a defensive hold.
Well, that's been kind of his bugaboo.
Yeah.
Is those penalties.
He had another one. I kind of noticed the fact that they didn't have like a true number 2 yesterday. I mean, they were obviously going to Terry a bunch. But once Ertz went down with that concussion.
But look at all the different guys that got involved. Yeah. I mean, Oz had 3 catches on 4 targets. Diami 3 catches on 4 targets. Jameson with 3 for 3. Ertz 2 catches, big one before he went down with the head injury. B-Rob with 3 catches. Look at all the guys. I'm still not done. Ben Sinnott had a catch. John Bates had a big catch. McNichols, Luke had just the one. So they have guys that contribute, but clearly it'd be nice to have.
They're contributors,
a stud.
But I did notice. No, I don't know how many of those sacks were on the offensive line versus Jaden, but there was a bunch of times where he just held the ball a little too long, and I assume it's because there wasn't anybody open.
I mean, he was dancing around a lot.
He was, and if he wasn't so fast, he would have been sacked 12 or 13 times.
Yeah, he made a couple just incredible plays.
I don't know. I just kind of noticed the fact that they don't have that true number 2. They definitely need a true number 2.
Well, I think also they definitely were suffering from not having Tyler Biadasz there in the middle.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then, again, got to give your hat tip to Chase. Chase played a heck of a game for New Orleans. Had a couple sacks. He was definitely making his presence felt.
Yep.
And I think, as you said, if he had played like that every week, he'd still be here.
Right. He was awesome. He and Cam Jordan both had 2 sacks each.
But at the end of the day, even though it was kind of frustrating that they could only kick the 2 field, bigger dogs. Now, we are at home.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why.
No, I thought maybe 5 to 6 points. I didn't think they'd be 7 points. Just division game. It's a huge game for Philly because they are now tied with Detroit at 12-2, and of course they're going for that number 1 overall seed, which gets the bye in the playoffs. And right now, the Lions still hold the tiebreaker based on conference record, but it's a huge game for Philly.
Well, I'm a little concerned too about where we are because we're banged up. Because Jeremy Chin told the staff that he was okay, but they had to come out there and get him because he was knocked out on the play, at least for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
You could see him; he was unconscious there for a second at least. When he went to the turf. Ertz, I have to watch the replay on that because I didn't see his head hit the ground. Did you see it when you watched it?
When I first watched it, I thought it was a shoulder, but his head, the side of his helmet did hit the ground.
The side did? Yeah, I didn't see it.
So, and he was clearly banged up.
He was banged up, so
that was a great catch.
He'll be in the protocol.
I mean, what a catch that was.
I would assume that Chin will be in the protocol.
Yep.
Hopefully he didn't lose anybody else. I saw Kime tweeting about there is a chance maybe that John can come back by the end of the season. John Allen, that'd be great.
I've heard that. Yep.
If we could add John to the mix, that'd be excellent. But I think maybe at the end of the day, this might be the best thing for them because they escape with a dub. They got a lot of things they can work on. They can't, there's no way they'll be, thinking they're hot S.
Yeah.
Heading into this game against the Eagles. They'll have their full attention.
Look, they've got their deficiencies. They know it. The penalties, and Coach talked about it after the game. They've got to cut their penalties down. Now, some of them were bad calls, but you just can't keep giving New Orleans, bad teams free yards.
No, I think they had, as John said, I think they've had 10, 9, and 8 or something in their last 3 games in terms of penalties.
Yeah.
So they got to clean that up.
The one thing that was really fortunate for
9-5, the first time they've been 9-5 since, is it 1993?
That's what you said at the top of the show.
They've been 9-5 since 1993.
It's a long time.
It's been a long time since we've had a record like this. I know I felt like this one was slipping away, but they pulled it out. Now we've got the Eagles coming up. Want to bang out your calls, 800-636-1067. How are you feeling about being 9-5 heading into what are we up to now? Week 16? Is that what it is?
Entering week 16.